Thank you for watching and listening to this narrated presentation, which aims to provide a summary of the proposed Cornwall devolution deal announced on the 2nd of December 2022. For more information, please visit the Council's website at www.cornwall.gov.uk and search for devolution. The negotiations that have led to the proposed deal have focused on acquiring the powers and investments required to help deliver the Cornwall Plan 2050, which was shaped by thousands of residents in 2020 as the future vision for the Duchy. These slides explain how the proposed deal has developed, what it provides, and how you can have your say in our public consultation. The starting point for the proposed deal was the publication of the government's Levelling Up White Paper in February 2022. The White Paper outlines the government's long-term plan to level up the country and reduce geographic inequality across the UK. One of the 12 missions that underpins the government's Levelling Up policy is that by 2030, every area in the country will be given the opportunity to secure a devolution deal that will transfer varying degrees of power and investment to a place, based on 3 levels. Level 1 provides a minimal transfer of powers and limited investment, whereas Level 3 is the most extensive deal available and includes a multi-million pound investment fund for a 30-year period. The government has made it clear that to secure a Level 3 deal requires the introduction of a directly elected form of local leadership. For Cornwall Council, that means changing our governance model from a council leader who was elected by the 87 members to a council mayor who was elected by the people of Cornwall. Given the acute challenges faced in Cornwall, which include a housing crisis and low wage levels, and with a long recession forecast, a Level 3 deal provides the greatest opportunity to make a positive difference to lives and livelihoods in Cornwall. In summary, the proposed Level 3 Cornwall devolution deal will help improve outcomes for residents and businesses across the Duchy. Firstly, it will expand on the success of Cornwall's 2015 devolution deal, which among a number of positive benefits enabled the council to deliver a better bus service and to explore the potential of providing geothermal energy. Secondly, the deal will bring new and additional investment to Cornwall of £390 million over the next 30 years. Thirdly, it will give Cornwall Council, through an elected mayor, new powers and functions so more decisions about Cornwall can be made in Cornwall. Fourthly, looking at existing Level 3 style deals across the country, it will also give Cornwall much needed influence, access and recognition nationally and globally. Finally, and most importantly, the deal will help level up Cornwall both with the best performing areas in the country and also within Cornwall so that everyone can start well, live well and age well. Levelling up is really important for Cornwall because we've got some big gaps to close when compared to the rest of the country. For example, gross value added per hour worked is 77% of the UK average. Likewise, gross weekly median pay is £516 in Cornwall compared to the UK average of £613. The average government funding for research and development is also far below the UK average. And in primary schools, the proportion of students who reached the expected level in reading, writing and maths at the end of Key Stage 2 is 54% compared to 58% in England. These are all issues that are impacting negatively on lives and livelihoods in Cornwall, and a Level 3 deal gives the council more power to its elbow to change this situation around. As ever, one of the most important means of making the change is money, and a Level 3 deal would provide significant long-term investment for Cornwall. In total, it means £390 million of new government funding coming to Cornwall over the next 30 years. This is money that Cornwall would not have without a Level 3 deal. As well as new funding, responsibility for the existing government funding provided for adult education in Cornwall would be transferred to the council to administer. This means the adult education offer in Cornwall can be tailored to Cornwall's needs. The breakdown of the £390 million is shown on this slide. The proposed deal would give Cornwall the certainty of £12 million of investment every year for 30 years through to 2054. This extends beyond the lifetime of the 2050 Cornwall Plan and means we can deliver on the vision that residents said they wanted to see for the future. The deal would give the council £8.7 million over 2 years to deliver much-needed affordable housing schemes on brownfield land, plus a further £7 million to deliver a number of developments that already have planning permission in 2023. We will also receive £3 million worth of funding to deliver a number of important heritage schemes across Cornwall in 2023. Over the next 3 years, the deal will see up to £10 million invested in a new fund to support innovative businesses in Cornwall. And Cornwall will also receive £500,000 to support Cornish distinctiveness in 2023-2024, which would include promoting the Cornish language. The proposed devolution deal will be cost neutral to the council until at least 2025. We've done this by securing capacity funding to deliver the deal from the government's current 3-year budget period, which runs to March 2025. This includes £750,000 in mayoral capacity fund, which will cover any costs associated with providing support to the mayor. The independent remuneration panel, appointed by the council, will advise on the allowance to be paid to the mayor. Any additional allowance recommended by the panel to be paid to the mayor, which is above the allowance currently paid to the leader, will also be covered by the mayoral capacity fund. The council will also receive £238,000 of capacity funding to cover the cost of developing a pipeline of affordable housing schemes that would then be submitted to government for major investment. The same is true in respect of transport, with the council receiving £500,000 to develop a pipeline of schemes that can then attract major investment to help Cornwall deliver the Cornwall Transport Plan and contribute towards Cornwall becoming carbon neutral by 2030. Any further capacity funding beyond March 2025 will be subject to the government next spending review for the period 2025 to 2028, which is consistent with the arrangements for all other devolution deals. The next few slides will show how the proposed Cornwall devolution deal delivers on our 2050 Cornwall Plan. Firstly, the deal will help Cornwall's transition to a creative carbon zero economy. Government and Cornwall will increase collaboration on supporting our strategic sectors, such as floating offshore wind, tech metals, and the visitor economy, for example. The deal enables Cornwall to create a floating offshore wind commission, which puts the region in the lead role nationally in demonstrating and developing the potential of that specific form of renewable energy. We also have more influence over the planning of our future energy grid capacity to help deliver net zero. The deal provides an opportunity to help fast-track the Langgarth development to be supplied by a geothermal heat network. The deal will also support Cornwall's beautiful natural environment. We will use our close working relationship with DEFRA to help bring in more private investment to improve and grow nature. Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly have already been a pilot area for the development of a local nature recovery strategy. However, in the deal, this goes further and government commits to implement new environmental land management schemes in line with the recovery strategy. Through the deal, the government also acknowledges the importance of Cornish hedges. As they are neither considered hedgerows nor dry stone walls, they do not always enjoy the same level of protection and attention. Helpfully, the deal provides the opportunity for the council to make the case to government for the positive management and restoration of existing Cornish hedges through the Agricultural Transition Programme of Farming Reforms. We know that transport and housing are very important to people's quality of life in Cornwall, which is why delivering thriving places with decent, affordable housing is one of the priorities in the 2050 Cornwall Plan. In addition to the £500,000 Cornwall will receive to develop a pipeline of transport schemes to deliver the Cornwall Transport Plan, the deal will enable the council to develop a new rail partnership with Great British Railways, which will be the successor to Network Rail. A partnership with Great British Railways will give us the opportunity to develop better ticketing, connecting the rail and bus networks to create a truly integrated public transport network. The deal also recognises the support Cornwall needs to access the government's local vehicle infrastructure scheme and will work closely on innovative local travel schemes which will make it easier for people to walk and cycle in Cornwall. For housing, as we have stated and shown earlier, the deal provides investment through brownfield funding, capital investment and housing capacity funding to accelerate the provision of affordable housing in Cornwall. In addition, the deal will see the creation of a Cornwall Land Commission to bring public sector bodies together to make better use of land owned by public sector bodies and often surplus to requirement to build new affordable housing. Cornwall will also be part of a pilot with government to improve conditions for tenants in the private rented sector. The proposed devolution deal will support education, equality and entrepreneurship, which is another priority area in the 2050 Cornwall Plan. Through the deal, Cornwall will have control over the adult skills budget, which is currently administered by government. This will enable more tailored support to be provided to thousands of Cornwall residents every year to develop the skills they need for life and work. That will also allow employers to access a better skilled workforce they need for businesses to grow and thrive, particularly in Cornwall's foundation and growth sectors. The £10 million Innovation Fund mentioned earlier will also support entrepreneurship across Cornwall. The deal also provides a number of commitments to recognise the importance of Cornish as a national minority with its own unique and protected language. This means government supporting renewed collaboration with the English Heritage Trust so that heritage sites in Cornwall have an interpretation that reflects their Cornish history. It also means ensuring the Cornish language being included in any list of regional minority languages in future legislation that comes before Parliament. And finally, we have commitment from government to work with us to support, protect and promote the Cornish in private and public life, backed up by £500,000 worth of funding for the Cornish language in 2023 and 2024, and the opportunity to consider year-on-year funding thereafter from the 30-year Cornwall Investment Fund. Delivering healthy, safe and resilient communities is also a key priority in the 2050 Cornwall Plan. The investment through this proposed deal in housing, infrastructure, employment and skills opportunities would all contribute a health gain for those living in Cornwall and targeted at those with the poorest health. Recent research into the impact of devolution on health in Manchester offers some promising evidence for areas like Cornwall. The independent study, published in the Lancet Public Health Journal, suggests that devolution over public services can reduce local health inequalities. A further boost in tackling health inequalities is represented in joint plans by Cornwall Partnership NHS Foundation Trust and Cornwall Council to regenerate a site in Poole to provide a new health hub alongside new affordable housing for local people. The government has also committed to working with Cornwall Council to develop innovative ways for improving public health. A key focus will be on reducing rural and coastal health disparities and tackling complex health issues such as childhood obesity and healthy ageing. When we compare Cornwall's proposed deal with other devolution deals across the country, there are several ways this deal stands apart from the rest. Firstly, Cornwall's deal gives support to a floating offshore wind commission that will help us develop this important renewable energy source more quickly and create much-needed jobs in doing so. Secondly, the deal recognises the challenges of the housing crisis in Cornwall, and it commits government to working closely with the council to address the issue of growing numbers of second homes and short-term holiday lets. Finally, The protection and promotion of the Cornish language is a long-standing priority of Cornwall Council. Government's commitment to support, protect and promote Cornish in private and public life is a welcomed and significant recognition of Cornwall's distinctiveness. The government has repeatedly made it clear that the only way to secure the proposed Level 3 devolution deal is by changing the council's governance to an elected mayor. This means changing from a leader and cabinet to an elected mayor and cabinet. The diagram on the left-hand side of the slide shows how, in the current leader and cabinet model, voters elect 87 councillors every 4 years. The 87 councillors then elect the leader of the council annually, and the leader then appoints the cabinet. Importantly, the mayoral model, which you can see on the right-hand side, does not mean adding another layer of governance. What it does mean is that Cornwall's electorate would vote for a mayor every 4 years, who would then appoint the cabinet. The proposed first election of the council mayor takes place in May 2024. Meaning the first term of the elected mayor would be for 5 years. The other notable difference is that any amendments to the mayor and cabinet's budget, plans and strategies that are not accepted by the mayor and cabinet require a 2/3 vote by the council to pass, whereas the current model requires a simple majority to pass an amendment. As seen elsewhere in the country, an elected council mayor will give Cornwall greater influence and the opportunity to secure more investment. One way an elected council mayor would enable Cornwall to enjoy greater access and influence with government is that they would join a small group of mayors from other areas who meet regularly with the government ministers and officials. Another way in which a council mayor benefits Cornwall is that they can attract inward investment, including from overseas. In fact, research recently commissioned by the County Councils Network states that elected mayors can act as conveners to support the development of business networks, as well as act as a single point of contact and as ambassadors for their area in attracting inward investment. This could be particularly important in Cornwall, given our lower productivity, lower average earnings, and investment in research and development. Cornwall could also benefit from simplified funding settlements in the future as a result of securing a proposed Level 3 devolution deal. The Chancellor's autumn statement committed government to explore departmental-style long-term settlements for the mayors of Greater Manchester and the West Midlands. This would move away from the competitive bidding processes, and Cornwall Council would make the case to government for parity with those two areas if the council accepts the Level 3 deal and changes its governance to an elected mayor and cabinet. We know from the government's Levelling Up white paper that devolution is an ongoing process and not a one-off event. We have already seen areas like Greater Manchester and the West Midlands continually receive further powers, funding and influence through subsequent devolution deals. If the proposed Level 3 deal is secured, the council would seek to become a rural trailblazer for further and deeper devolution to ensure even more decisions about Cornwall are taken in Cornwall. Cornwall Council wants everyone in Cornwall to have their say on the deal and the required governance change through the consultation period, which runs for 10 weeks from Friday the 9th of December until midnight on Friday the 17th of February. We'll be using a range of methods to gather views and opinions, including online and postal questionnaires. We'll hold face-to-face engagement events with specific groups. We will also be conducting a survey with a representative sample of 1,100 Cornish residents so that we hear from people from all backgrounds and areas of Cornwall. This slide shows some key indicative milestones in the timeline. The proposed Level 3 devolution deal was announced on the 2nd of December 2022. The consultation is open from the 9th of December 2022 until the 17th of February 2023. From January 2023, the Council's Constitution and Governance Committee will consider the key constitutional-related governance changes to make recommendations to full Council. In March, The Cabinet will consider the proposed deal in light of the outcome of the public consultation and make a recommendation for full Council to consider when it meets in July. Before that, in April, the full Council will consider the merits of holding a referendum on the proposed change to an elected council mayor. Subject to the outcome of the April meeting, in July 2023, full Council will consider the Cabinet's recommendation and make a decision on whether to ratify the deal and make associated decisions about the required change to the Council's governance. If the Council resolves to ratify the deal and to change its governance, the first election of the Council Mayor would take place in May 2024. You can find more information at www.cornwall.gov.uk and search for devolution. Thank you for taking the time to hear about the proposed Cornwall devolution deal. If you would like to contribute to the consultation, or if you have any questions, please visit www.letstalk.cornwall/big deal.